Liam Lawson is certainly making a name for himself, just not a very good one. So far, his official start as an F1 racer has rubbed everyone the wrong way. Can he stay in Formula One when multiple drivers, and even his own team, despise him? Let's find out today. Liam Lawson was embroiled in a fierce rivalry with embattled Red Bull driver Sergio Perez. Lawson, widely tipped as the top contender to join Max Verstappen at Red Bull for the 2025 season, was seen giving Perez a heated middle finger gesture, mid-race during their intense on-track skirmish. The confrontation with Perez came hot on the heels of Lawson facing criticism from two-time world champion Fernando Alonso at the recent United States GP, with both Perez and Alonso labelling the 22-year-old as an idiot. After the Mexican GP, Perez had more advice for the young driver, telling media outlets that Lawson needs to be a bit more humble if he's aiming for a long-term spot on the grid. Perez said, "I don't have any relationship with him. I think the way he has come to Formula One, I don't think he has the right attitude for it. He needs to be a bit more humble." When a two-time world champion, Alonso, was saying things last weekend, he completely ignored him. When you come to Formula One, you're obviously very, very hungry and so on, but you have to be as well respectful off track and on track. I don't think he's showing the right attitude to show a good case for himself because I think he's a great driver, and I hope for him that he can step back and learn from it. In his two first Grands Prix, he has had too many incidents. And I think there will be a point where it can cost him too much like it did this weekend. I just think that he has to have the right attitude to say, "Look, probably I'm overdoing it a little bit. I will step back and start again." And it's all the learning you have to do as a youngster, because if you don't learn from your mistakes, Formula One is a brutal world and he might not continue. Sergio Perez raised questions about Red Bull's expectations for his racing style, asking if they want him to be very aggressive after colliding with Liam Lawson during his home race. With Perez widely rumoured to be fighting to keep his seat at Red Bull for next season, and Lawson positioned as the top contender to take his place, the high-stakes battle between the two drivers on Sunday held added intrigue for fans and analysts alike. The Mexican driver expressed his disapproval of Lawson's approach, remarking that the young racer needs to control his temperament if he hopes to secure a spot on next year's grid, particularly after clashing with Fernando Alonso in Austin. Speaking to Spanish broadcaster DAZN after the race, Perez had more to say about Lawson's future prospects. "It's not just with me, it was also with Fernando last race, with Franco Colapinto at the end of the race. There is no penalty. Maybe also Red Bull likes me to be very aggressive and have this kind of behaviour. I don't know. In the end, he also ruined his race. We will turn the situation around, and next year we will try again here. We don't have the pace, no doubt. We have to work on it and get both cars on the same spec, which is very important as soon as possible. The team is making a big effort in bringing all the parts." At the end, Lawson is starting in Formula One. "I think he brings too much pressure and too much limelight that he wants to show. It was the same with Fernando last race and the same with Franco at the end of this race. He has to come down 2 or 3 steps because at the end he is fighting for a contract and to be able to continue next year. He has to show that he is able to control his temperament." Liam Lawson has issued an apology to Sergio Perez for flashing him the middle finger during their heated duel at the Mexican Grand Prix. Reflecting on the moment, Lawson admitted the gesture was driven by frustration but acknowledged it was out of line. He said, "It's obviously one of those in-the-moment things," he explained. "He spent half the lap blocking me, trying to ruin my race, so I was upset. But it's not an excuse. I shouldn't have done it, and I apologise for that." Now, a new driver has joined Sergio Perez and Fernando Alonso in the anti-Liam Lawson club. Unseen footage from the Mexican Grand Prix captured a heated moment when race winner Carlos Sainz urged the stewards to penalise the newest VCARB driver over team radio. Ferrari's Carlos Sainz clinched his 4th career win in Mexico last weekend, leading from pole to a 4.7-second victory margin over McLaren's Lando Norris. This victory marked a milestone for Sainz, who secured multiple wins in a single season for the first time in his F1 career, following his earlier triumph in Australia in 2024. Speaking to media, Sainz described the weekend as just perfect, calling his victory one of the best moments in his career. Yet despite his commanding drive, an untelevised snippet of onboard footage showed Sainz's frustration as he lapped Lawson, revealing that his win wasn't quite as smooth as it seemed. In the clip, Lawson seems to disregard the trackside panels, used alongside blue flags to alert drivers when they're about to be lapped. As Sainz approached turn 4 at the end of the first sector, his race engineer Ricardo Adami referenced the blue panels, signalling, solid blues now. When Lawson didn't yield over the following series of tight corners, a frustrated Sainz could be heard shouting Lawson's name repeatedly over the team radio. For what felt like an eternity, Lawson held his speed as the cars entered the challenging S's section, prompting Sainz to bellow, "Lawson!" When Lawson finally pulled aside at the S's exit, Sainz added, "That should be a penalty." A penalty. He did a whole 2 sectors in front. Red Bull management also weighed in on the incident, with Christian Horner asserting that lessons will come from the fierce clash between Liam Lawson and Sergio Perez. He explained, "First of all, I think it demonstrates that the 2 teams do race each other, and whilst having the same ownership are independent in the way that they go racing. Liam has apologised, I think, to Checo for the incident. Obviously, there'll be lessons that come out of that, but frustrating certainly for Checo's race to pick up the damage and lose valuable points today. I haven't spoken with Liam yet. I've spoken to Checo, and I understand the 2 drivers have spoken together." Red Bull extended Perez's contract earlier this season, standing by him through a rough patch of performances. Despite their support, Perez hasn't seen a podium finish since the Chinese Grand Prix in April, and Red Bull has faced challenges in the Constructors' Championship. Christian Horner acknowledged they've done all they can to help Perez improve, but cautioned that Formula One is ultimately a results business, leaving Perez's 2025 seat unconfirmed. Checo, again, has had a horrible weekend. Nothing has gone right for him. He knows F1 is a results-based business. Inevitably, when you're not delivering, then the spotlight is firmly on you. The scrutiny, is constant. It's always there. From a team's perspective, we're working with him as hard as we can to try and support him. I think we have done everything that we can to support Checo, and we will continue to do so in Brazil. But there comes a point in time that you can only do so much. Lawson's aggressive manoeuvres against Perez, coupled with the middle finger gesture, did not sit well with Red Bull Motorsport advisor Helmut Marko. Speaking to media, Marko expressed his disapproval. Yes, he, Sergio Perez, had a coming together with Lawson which damaged his car. So for the whole Red Bull teams, it was not a very good weekend. Checo was also very upset with Lawson. So I think we have to sit down and discuss it here. It was an unnecessary collision where I see Lawson as being more to blame. While Lawson managed to showcase his skills in his duel with Perez, Marko emphasised that there was still something lacking in his performance, saying, "But we know Lawson is a very tough racer. He's very difficult to overtake. But it shouldn't be within, not teammates, but with sister teams. There should be more respect." Red Bull has made it clear to Liam Lawson that he needs to keep delivering strong performances if he hopes to secure a seat with the team. Historically, drivers who shine in Red Bull's junior team are often rewarded with a promotion, and Lawson now has his sights set on the coveted spot alongside Max Verstappen. With Sergio Perez's position looking increasingly shaky amid inconsistent results, Lawson commented, "Obviously the expectation is to carry on performing as well, so one weekend's not enough to do too much." They're obviously happy with how it went, but as I said, this is a very different style of circuit, so we have to really put a lot of effort into these weekends, honestly. The preparation is very, very important to how we end up performing. Do you think there was anything wrong with Liam Lawson's brand of racing, or is Sergio Perez overreacting and shifting the blame for a terrible outing in his home country? Tell us your thoughts in the comments section down below, and as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thanks for watching.